My main question is why? Why are you going above and beyond to protect this man who is America's ultimate Nepo baby?
Talk about the situation with the government lawsuit between Prince Harry and whatever is going on with his visa and the Heritage Foundation. What's the latest?
Yeah, so what we found out is lawyers claimed Prince Harry could face stigma if his U.S. visa documents were released. I know. This information was found inside a 53-page transcript. This was a court hearing, though, in February. We're just now finding out about it. I looked up the definition of the word stigma, and it says a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance. Disgrace is the key word there. But the government's arguing that many of these records are law enforcement records. They believe there is a stigma associated with being mentioned in law enforcement records. They argue that publishing the files would expose confidential law enforcement tools, and the government insists that people who are public figures still maintain their privacy interests, which is funny when you think about the fact that Harry is a best-selling tell-all book author and reality television star.
Well, exactly right. And from my time working in America, I seem to remember one of the great things about the country is that they'll give you any piece of information you want. You know, I used to call the FBI on a regular basis and say, are you investigating these people in Wall Street or, you know, people that are doing this? And they always tell you, but suddenly Harry seems to get preferred treatment.
Yeah, I mean, is the Biden administration going to burp him and change his nappy too? This is a grown man. So I really don't understand why they're going to such great lengths to protect him. What, you know, the issue is, did he or did he not admit to drug use on this paperwork? Or worst case scenario, did he lie? And why are they going? You know, that Telegraph article says Biden administration pleads with court to keep Prince Harry's visa documents under wraps. So there's an air of desperation there. And why?
Exactly right. It's a very simple question. Just answer the question and we can all move on, you know. But they don't seem to want to do that because, again, Harry has got this obsession with privacy, except for when he wants to blow everybody else's privacy out of the water. Fascinating. Interesting, looking back at their trip to Nigeria, I see that there's been a little bit of a backlash on the grounds that a couple of people there have described Meghan as somebody who kind of came and saw and just kind of used everybody.
So, you know, it's being described as a sly dig. The First Lady said girls and women in Nigeria do not want to mimic and try to emulate film stars from America. Meghan Markle, star of Hallmark's Dater's Handbook, she said we have to do something to tell them we don't accept nakedness in our culture. That is not beautiful. It's not beautiful at all. And she stressed that why did Meghan come here looking for Africa? This is something we have to take home with. We know who we are. We don't lose who we are. So it sounded a bit like she was criticizing Meghan Markle there, almost criticizing the way Meghan dressed, which we heard a lot of people criticizing the way Meghan dressed. And it just did not seem like a necessarily positive response to their trip.
It didn't sound like she loved it, did it? I mean, you have to say.
Yes, people can change. And when they're young, people probably do things that they may regret later on. Should it be enough for him not to go to the States? That, again, is for the immigration authorities and the states to determine. And that's why the Heritage Foundation have gone out and said, we want to know, perhaps to understand. Maybe it could be a help to other people to know what can you put in. But it doesn't help Harry's case if he's writing a book and he has talked extensively about the fact that he has taken drugs of various types over the years.
That the Biden administration has apparently been pleading with the court to help Prince Harry's visa documents stay under wraps. Rupert, good evening to you. What is going on here?
Well, it's all come about from a Freedom of Information request by an organisation that states that they want to understand exactly what Prince Harry put on his immigration form. Now, this all has come about because he admitted in his book, Spare, and elsewhere, that he had taken drugs. And of course, going into America, you have to reveal it. Whether that means that you're completely precluded from going into America, I'm not sure. I know there have been some high-profile examples of people who haven't been allowed to go to America. But the Biden administration don't want this out there. Now, I don't know whether he has admitted what Harry has actually put on that, and no one knows. And that's why this organization has gone about trying to get to the bottom of it. President Trump has put his pennyworth in, saying that he is happy for it to be revealed more or less. So, in a way, this is Prince Harry finding himself in the crosshairs again, and the Biden administration don't want this out there. Now, why? I don't know. Their ambassador in this country made it clear that it wouldn't happen on Biden's watch. So that means at least it won't come out until the end of the year, if that is the case. But it's uncomfortable, I think, for Prince Harry that this is another thing that he's been sort of travails as he tries to rehabilitate himself in the eyes of not only the British public, but probably the American public.
And as you say in his memoir, Spare, he admitted to taking cocaine, marijuana, psychedelic mushrooms. Clearly, that has to be part of this. I remember a friend of mine was going to America, and he had some skeletons in his closet and had to actually tick the box. There was quite a long list of things in the box where it was kind of, you know, have you ever been cautioned by the police? Have you ever done this, that, and the other? Have you ever been convicted, sent to prison, whatever? And then I kind of went down this list, and one of them was, have you ever been convicted of being a Nazi war criminal? And despite the fact that he was born, I think, about 40 years after the end of World War II, he had to tick that box. So it is very extensive. I lived in America for a year. I've filled out visa forms, I've had two, possibly three, two visas, two different types of visas to go to America. It is extensive as well, but this is also personal information. But then Harry's put a lot of this in the public domain anyway. I wonder if he or his people have reacted to this and what they're saying in regard to the fact that, I mean, he's told us basically everything. What more can there be?
Well, there shouldn't be anything more. In Harry's case, a warts and all biography, you know, laying it all out there as to why he feels aggrieved that he is the spare. Now, his obviously at various stages in his life, he's lived the high life, and we know that sort of some of his shenanigans over in Las Vegas, he clearly has enjoyed a party or two. So whether that is detrimental to his wanting to be in states, that's only for the American law enforcement agencies and the customs and the immigration people to determine what he has put in there. Is it fit for purpose in terms of him going to the States? But what he said in the book, if you're strictly black and white looking at it, then it perhaps means that he perhaps shouldn't be in the States. But it's a grey area. And as you say, the Americans have a form that goes on forever, and they ask every kind of question. So I think you have to sort of somehow look through it and say, what actually is going on? Is he going to get thrown out of the States? I probably don't think so. But it's, you know, there is an organization fronted by Niall Gardner who want to find out the facts.
Harry and Meghan's drug problem. And what it is I've been sort of teasing it like that, which is a bit naughty, but they're in Montecito, this very exclusive enclave where she lives and Ellen DeGeneres and Oprah Winfrey and all those rich people live. There are, surrounding that area, some cannabis farms, totally legal under California's law, but apparently emanating from these cannabis farms is this god-awful skunk-like smell, which is really ticking off the local rich residents. They're thinking about investing in these air cleaners, these fresh air cleaners that cost about 17 grand each. They want to get about 10 each, or 10 to cover the area. We don't know whether or not Harry and Meghan will contribute to the costs, but I'm figuring that old Harry, you know, given his drug habits, he'll probably just sort of nip to one of these farms and do a bit of shopping, maybe.
Kevin, I've worked very hard on this, so bear with me. Okay. The headline was Prince Harry and Meghan Markle face cannabis hell as nearby farm creates ungodly stink. Let's be blunt. This headline is inaccurate. Prince Harry lives the high life in sunny California. I'm sure he considers this farmer his best bud. But I mean, truly, this is his Disneyland. He sniffs the air and immediately is wearing a top hat and tail singing Pure Imagination. Ungodly stink. Harry only smells like a Grateful Dead concert on days that end in Y. Apparently, if you're in Montecito, your ganja have a good time, Kev.
You can come again. That's very good, very good. I mean, yeah, it is a bit of, it's, as I say, you know, old Harry, this is just me speculating, of course, he can't decide whether or not to invest in one of these air scrabblers, I think they're called, 17 grand each, they need about 10. He can't decide whether to invest in one of those or get in his car, go to one of the farms and make a little purchase, get a few of his favourite buds and come back and light up a spliff, eh?
I'm sure if they were to invest in one of these air purifiers that you're talking about, that would be a joint decision between him and...
Oh dear, we're not taking the gruesome twosome seriously, are we? But this does feed into a more serious story, and that is, you know, the ongoing bid, bizarre, strange bid, in my view, by Biden's legal team to keep secret Harry's visa application to live in America. The story being, of course, since he boasted about his drug use, cannabis, cocaine and magic mushrooms in his nasty little book Spare, did he put that in his visa application? Because it does ask you, have you used drugs? If he put that in, why is he allowed to stay? Because I wouldn't be able to. No other foreigner would be able to stay. Why is America giving him VIP treatment? Because America is the land of the free and the equal. They're not supposed to look up to privileged aristocrats.
My main question is why? Why are you going above and beyond to protect this man who is America's ultimate Nepo baby? What has he done beyond the Invictus Games, which it's great. I celebrate it, but that is a palace-built initiative. That is the greatest thing that ever happened to him because it's his only, you know, it's his only good quality.
Do you know what?
Kate, the Princess of Wales, the Mail's got a piece today saying that the palace has been literally inundated with tens of thousands of get well cards for her, and she's still obviously withdrawn from public life, still recovering and taking her preventative chemotherapy for cancer. But they also mention that she's been out and about more with her family in recent weeks, which will encourage people to think that, you know, she may be able to make a comeback at some point, perhaps during the summer.
Yes, I think, you know, that there are positive signs that she is going out and about, you know, attending maybe the odd family a function, going out to see friends, that she's not just living like locked away in Adelaide Cottage, that she is trying to start to have a more normal life as she continues her recovery. She wants to do that for her children's sake as well, as normal life. And we saw William, you know, the Prince of Wales, and indeed we saw Prince George at the FA Cup final last weekend. Yes. So are trying to lead as normal a family life as possible. It's half-term week now, so maybe there are things that they are doing as a family, but keeping it as a low profile. They don't really want films like they saw of her when we saw her at the Windsor Farm shop. Just well, when was that? Just around about Easter time. Yeah. So they don't want things like that. But obviously, the Princess of Wales, I know, is seeing friends, is going to the odd social occasion as she continues her recovery.
Duchess of York, tireless. You know her as a big campaigner for environmental issues, don't you? Is she? I never heard that before. Anyway, she's gone down to Cap d'Antibes to a very flashy villa, and she's addressed a celebrity crowd, including Heidi Klum, Kelly Rowland, Demi Moore, Cher, at the AMFAR Gala, which was Elizabeth Taylor's AIDS research charity. And this was down at the Cannes Film Festival, basically. So she's making a speech about, come on, save the planet and all that. No one's really paying any attention. Anyway, she got a bit upset about that. Let's have a look at Fergie addressing this star-studded crowd down in Cannes.
But this is exceptional. And all I want to say is to everyone in this room, stop. 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 Did you see? I removed the microphone. Because all of you are saying, oh, I want to go, because where is the next party? What are we meant to be doing next? But what I want to say is, why are we here? What is the future? And why are we not making our planet better for the youth of tomorrow? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm so sorry that we have completely and utterly destroyed your planet. But thanks to AMFA and thanks to these people with scientific brilliance.
Do you think there was a free bar at that event? She seemed a bit refreshed.
That's the return of the death of irony, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Fergie
when Fergie lectures you about saving the planet, irony is dead. It has died.
Just Stop Oil might as well pack up and get off the motorway now because their cause is lost.
Yes, it's so sad. What she was upset about was nobody was paying any attention to her. All these famous people, Cher and
she did look like an Edinburgh Festival off-fringe act there, just dying in front of about 30 people.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, everybody wants to lecture about saving the planet now. And as I say, if we've got down to Fergie, I mean, it really is the kind of end of the line, isn't it? What next, Prince Andrew?
Well, Richard Branson does it on quite a regular basis, and that guy owns an airline. It's remarkable, really, isn't it? It doesn't stop anyone. It's the applause and the approval they want.
Bill Gates, he'll save the planet. We've all got to do our bit. As for me, I'm going to fly everywhere. About 14 times a day in my private jet, like Taylor Swift. Well, she's a one-woman ecological disaster.
Emma Thompson flying back first class for was it Extinction Rebellion protest?
Yeah. And we're going to do this tomorrow, by the way. The Archbishop of Canterbury apparently is chalking up a hell of a lot of air miles while he goes around the planet saying we've got to save it. Well, get off the aeroplanes, your Archbishopness, Justin Wokeby, and then we might be all right. I mean, really gets on my nerves, all this sort of, don't do as I do as I say.
Yeah, and in 200 years' time, the Church of England will issue a grovelling apology for his behaviour. And make a £50 billion donation to environmental causes. Yeah, it's very late after the event, isn't it? It's the way they operate.
Harry and Meghan's charity has seen a drop-off of almost 10 million in donations. Is it true or is it false?
Is this one of these "is that it" kind of questions? I've been doing this show quite some time now.
They probably lost the cheque in the post.
Oh, God, yes. Well, apparently the Archwell Foundation, which is the name of the foundation that they've got, is no longer delinquent. That's all been cleared up. They found the cheque in the mail.
So just to be clear, what happened with the delinquency?
So basically, they had to kind of like renew their kind of foundational basis for status. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. And the cheque got lost in the post, which is very much the dog ate my homework. However, they did kind of release the tracking details of the post, and it wasn't really Harry and Meghan's fault or the foundation's fault. But
nothing ever is.
No, I know. Yeah, that's true. But quite interesting.
As I say, they'll have to sack some staff over this because there are members of staff who've worked for Harry and Meghan for over 3 weeks.
Well,
so, which is a real record.
I mean, if you could last 3 weeks with that, you deserve a knighthood, I suppose.
Who was the biggest delinquent?
Yeah, but it's interesting you say that because I didn't realise there's only 5 people work for this foundation. And the head of it is James Holt, who's Prince Harry's kind of right-hand man, what they used to call a body man. And it's interesting that his starting salary was about 49k. After he joined the foundation, he's now on £181,000 a year. And he gave himself a 15k bonus, despite the fact they've had this massive drop in donations. Now, talk about, feeding yourself your own money.
Now, Connor, if you had to decide the level of pay that you were going to give to somebody to hang around with Harry and Meghan, surely you'd approve 181,000 plus a bonus.
Listen, one of my roles is to help promote British exports.
Yep.
And that's one that we're...
Look, you spent a lot of time with Margaret Thatcher, and obviously she was a great British woman. What would she have thought of Meghan Markle and indeed Prince Harry?
I certainly don't think they got the traction they thought they were going to get in the US. And having just spent 2 weeks in 7 states and 11 days, I don't think their names were mentioned once.
I agree with that. I work for a US-listed company. I'm in the States a fair bit. And my impression is that they view Meghan as an extension of the show business they've thought the royalty to be. America has some die-hard royalist fans, right? And those people understand that the monarchy undertakes quite a lot of public service that the rest of America doesn't get. But the rest of America just thinks Meghan's part of the show business, and it's neither here nor there. I'll have a go at your Thatcher question, because I think that when I think of Margaret Thatcher, I think of an important sense of duty.
Yes.
I think that's the thing that runs through her life. I think she would look at this situation and askance because Prince Harry wanted to be in the United States but still have the title, not do the work but still have the protection, security, imprimatur, gongs and all of that. And that's where I think you might have seen the famous Thatcher
he sort of almost adopted an old Tory slogan about Europe. He wanted to be in the family but not run by the family.
But it's amazing, isn't it, when you look at somebody like Margaret Thatcher and that great sense of duty, also the great sense of being frugal as well. She was very much a child of that generation, that post-war generation. And then you look at the way that nowadays there's so many people who are just interested in a me culture, which I think Meghan embodies. Has Harry and Meghan's charity seen a drop of almost 10 million in donations? Is it true or is it false?
I think it's true.
It's absolutely true. OK.